bring in some more voices. Fair enough.
Okay,
we'll see what's going on. Joining us right now from the right, RNC Deputy Communications Director Sarah Isgur Flores, and from the left, Ari Rabin Haft, the former advisor to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. We thank you both for being with us here on America's Forum.
Thank you for having me.
Ari, let's begin with you first. This notion of inevitability for Hillary Clinton, do you think she's going to run, and is she what the doctor ordered for the Democrats to keep the White House in 2016?
Sure. I mean, the only place that decision is being made is in the space between Hillary's ears. If I were a betting man, which I am, frankly, I would bet that she's running because that's what she seems to be doing. But look, I think, and if she does run, I think she is the inevitable Democratic nominee, and I think she wins the White House. So, yes, I do think she's what the doctor ordered for Democrats.
Ari, I got a kick out of that because you said, were I a betting man? And since you represented the senator from Nevada, obviously you're applying the craft there in the state of Nevada. All kidding.
Well,
Go ahead, sir.
It is the state's industry.
That's true, and no pejorative, no attack meant there. That's smart politics, regardless of what side of the aisle you line up on. It is interesting when it comes to the reviews of hard choices. Politico's Mike Allen says this book is a newsless snore, written so carefully not to offend that it will fuel the notion that politics infuses every part of her life. The New York Times book review goes further in its assessment. There is little news in the book, and unlike former Defense Secretary Robert M. Gates' rawly candid memoir Duty, this volume is very much the work of someone who's keeping all her political options open and who would like to be known not only for mastering the art of diplomacy, but also having the policy chops to become the chooser in chief. Slate's John Dickerson says the book is low salt, low fat, low calorie, often with vanilla pudding as the dessert. She goes on at great length, but not at great depth. Now, reviewers review. There's always a healthy dose of invective. But with this in mind, Sarah, and I guess you can't fault someone for this, stepping carefully so as not to offend. Is that one of the challenges Hillary has as the presumptive front runner for the Democrats?
We're seeing 2008 all over again. It's defensive, it's prickly, it's out of touch. Her interview last night on ABC, I thought, did not go well. The book reviews aren't going well either. These are the same mistakes she made before, and the problem this time, though, is I can name 13 candidates, 15 candidates that would all make great presidents on the Republican side. The Democrats can only really name one. So if she doesn't run, or if she proves to be a poor candidate like she did before, and like I think we're seeing in this book launch, I don't know what they're going to do.
Well, if this is a blueprint for 2016, it's not the only blueprint that Mrs. Clinton has been talking about in recent days. Let's take a listen.
Is there anything you personally should have been doing to make it safer in Benghazi?
Well, what I did was give very direct instructions that the people who have the expertise and experience in security apply it. Well, that is personal, though, Diane. I mean, I'm not equipped to sit and look at blueprints to determine where the blast walls need to be or where the reinforcements need to be. That's why we hire people who have that expertise.
I wonder if people are looking for a sentence that begins from you. I should have.
All right. Now, Ari, we want you to weigh in on this. What's your reaction to that interview?
I mean, the entirety or the clip, I think she's going out there. She's going to be asked about Benghazi repeatedly. I think she's answered a lot of questions on Benghazi. And I'd like to say, if Republicans are planning on running their 2016 campaign against Hillary based on Benghazi, it's going to be a fairly weak one since all those questions have been answered over the last 18 months. So I think she'll repeatedly answer them. I think the chapter in her book is fairly thorough. It goes through it. It talks about her role. It talks about what she could do, what she couldn't do. I think at this point, these questions are asked and answered.
What challenges, though, would you say she does face?
I think as a presidential candidate?
Yeah.
Look, I think she faces the front-runner problem, which she faced in 2008, which is when you're the inevitable candidate, it's hard to build excitement. frankly, if I were her, I'd want a primary opponent or two, because that will build excitement and cause a better race. I think Republicans have a slight advantage here in that they will have a good, solid primary. I think Democrats should hope for a good primary to hash out issues, to discuss topics, and to come together as a party. I think those processes are helpful. I think they can become unhelpful, as Republicans saw in 2012. But I think in general, they're very helpful.
Well, Ari, just one question there. Are you inviting, it sounds like you're not ready to get on the Hillary bandwagon. You want to see more people in the primary.
I always want to see more people in the primary. I'm actually not a Hillary partisan. I do like Hillary Clinton. I respect her. I think she was a great Secretary of State. As a New Yorker, I think she was a great senator for my state. I think she was a great First Lady, and I think she'll make a great president. But I think some amount of primary is helpful. I think it's where parties hash out their issues on a national level. So, yeah,
you want to see some competition.
I think good competition is healthy.
Right. Well, she may receive the competition and the scrutiny over something she wrote in the book. There's this passage about Mrs. Clinton's trip, along with then Governor Clinton's trip to in 1981 to the Middle East. Quote, "When we left the city and visited Jericho in the West Bank, I got my first glimpse of life under occupation for Palestinians who were denied the dignity and self-determination that Americans take for granted." Now, Sarah, Republican Chris Christie used similar language about Palestine and later apologized. Do you think this creates problems for Mrs. Clinton?
Well, we already see that the media is kind of in the bag for Hillary Clinton here. Look at the media she's getting, this circus surrounding her book launch / campaign launch. I think you'll see her make more mistakes. I think you saw that in the interview last night where she talked about her mortgages for her houses and how tough that was when she had gotten an $8 million book advance months earlier. I think she's out of touch. I think that she's not the candidate that the Democrats are hoping or think that she is. And this is just the beginning of some of the problems we're going to see.
Ari, what's your reaction to that quote? And ultimately, do you think Clinton's book will work for her or against her?
The Palestine quote or the
Palestine quote, yes. The
Palestine quote. Look, I think as a Jew, as somebody whose family has literally fought and spread blood in Israel and fought for that state, I think the only way to peace is a two-state solution. That's the policy of the Israeli government. That's the policy of the U.S. government. I think language around the conflict is very, very difficult, and I think it's a hard line to walk, and I think she does it well. I think the book is a benefit.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Ari Rabin-Haft and Sarah Isgur Flores, we thank you so much for your time. And now we want your opinion. Hillary in 2016 and her book, Hard Choices. Are you going to buy it? You going to read it? Heck, you going to vote for Hillary? Why don't you tweet us your comments at Newsmax TV, #America's Forum. There's also email and Facebook.